Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier. I'm going to lead today with a little bit of bullshit which isn't normal for this channel. Some of you commented that I seemed happier than usual about the changes on the last video yesterday, having to do about the updated roadmap. It's true that I make videos for Star Citizen, however I'm nothing much more than another gamer who backed a crazy dream. The project has gone on much longer than I thought, and we've all seen the delays and setbacks. It's hard for even the most dedicated fan to stay on track, so as just another backer, I believe we're actually on the verge of greatness. Let's talk about today. The first PillarTalk was a deep dive into all the questions that we had about the actual state of the game, with how the issues would be addressed. It was the most valuable video produced by CIG when it came out, so when Aaron Roberts spoke about the staggered development, it was a shame that that video was mislabeled as a PillarTalk. It's good to learn from your mistakes, so today, CIG published a brand new PillarTalk titled Alpha 3.8. Here's what you need to know in 4 minutes and 48 seconds. The panel today consisted of CIG royalty, the heavy hitters, Chris Roberts, Todd Pappy, Tony Z, and Sean Tracy. Planetech V4 was a major milestone for the developers that was demoed at CitizenCon 2019. Seamless transitions, weather, temperature penalties, full immersive sounds, and textures that more than stand up to close scrutiny. All of these are tied together in a single gaming experience. The actor status works on the extremes of heat and cold, the quality of the environment, and the capability of the equipment that you use to preserve your life. Tony reminded the panel that the economy system that he's working on ties into all of this by bringing up that the environment would also dictate what commodities are needed. The types of gear bought in a store would be directly tied to the needs of the area. Microtech would sell cold-rated gear, Hurston would sell hazmat-rated gear, and lawless areas like Grimhex would sell more ammunition. It was a nice little tie-in from him because it illustrates how complex the Star Citizen universe is intended to operate. Chris mentioned that the back-end tools needed to be built to an extreme level of capability to support this variation of Star Citizen. Because the tools needed adjustment, a full refactor of all the planets was needed to bring them back in line with V4. Chris said that all the current planet assets were fully rebuilt in 2 months, and moving on from now, the tools are ready to populate the universe. This is exactly what the company's been saying all the way since 2015 when they first started to discuss the idea of procedurally constructed universes. This was actually one of my first videos, and it's a little bit surreal to think that it's taken so long, but that as of right now, it's announced as complete. Most of you know that I'm very far from being a white knight within the community, but I'd just like to say that I'm relieved that the years of bullshit and uncertainty may actually be behind us. Once bitten, twice shy, so I still need to take what's been said with a grain of salty sand. Hopefully my cautious excitement won't lead to disappointment. SSOCS is in for 3.8, and its major impact was said to be how AI is going to behave and an obvious improvement in frames per second. This was most interesting. They said that we, the client, has seen what we thought were bugs in previous patches, where doors didn't open, items clipped through the surface. Chris confirmed that the low frame rate without SSOCS was a major contributing factor, and what I think he was trying to say is, this is why we've seen bugs travel from patch to patch. The resulting issue wasn't caused by bad code, but an unoptimized server. Players assumed that the code was broken and that the devs weren't fixing it, but it seems like everyone was just waiting for SSOCS. I don't know if the community would have believed it at the time, but I would have loved to have heard that a year ago. Tony Z is happy that the limitations are removed, allowing not only higher frame rates, but more content to be added. Stations, outposts, caves, planets, and systems can scale without the fear that it's going to tank the performance. Chris confirmed what we knew about SSOCS, that only the content that you personally need to enjoy the game is loaded onto your system. The server load can now scale exactly how the client scaled for some time now. The tech is the same for Squadron 42 in the PU, so whatever milestones fall for the single-player game, that would also push the PU. The near-term player cap still needs to be tested, but Tony did say that as you add load, that it's very likely that more issues will arrive. Tony mentioned that SSOCS is a building block towards server meshing. Until that was implemented, we would still have some form of server player cap. Platform persistence can now be explored, and we'll see some of it in 3.8, however not at initial launch. We may see it on an incremental patch, something like a 3.8.1 or 0.2. Persistence is critical. As you grind to buy or rent, the plan is that those things would remain in your inventory from patch to patch. The greater plan is full persistence, and they call that iCache. iCache persistence would be global, and theoretically would allow a player to hide an object, leave the area, and have it remain there until they return, or be seen if anyone actually stumbled upon it. This wouldn't be server-to-server dependent, as the end state is that all players are in one dynamic universe. Chris went on to expand that the implications of this basic framework are needed for player settlements and outposts. They spoke about melee, which is included in 3.8. Tony mentioned that it's being tied directly into law based on the location that you're in. And then they also said that prison gameplay and melee seem to be perfectly made for each other. You're not allowed to have a knife or pistol when locked up, but you still got your fists. 3.8 adds an 890 jump mission, which many of you may have already tested. The AI in 3.8 should seem better and present a better challenge. That new mission has many milestones, and this is the intended way that missions should be built in Star Citizen, thick with lots of choices. They spoke about more habitats on stations, they spoke about new weapons, they spoke about the updated and modified look-ahead mode, they spoke about UI fixes and quality of life improvements. And that was it. A really solid piece of content dropped on us from CIG. I'm excited by the implication of the new features as we seem to be on the verge of increased development. It would be lovely if features would release on time and rapidly so that we can forget the drama and the bullshit from the past. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. And if you got something out of the video, please consider sharing it with your friends or with your org mates. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.